Hey everyone, welcome to Sequence of Instructions. Thanks for joining me. In this video, we're going to be doing a follow-on on our previous video, arrays. In that previous video, we learned how to declare an array, how to reference the values in an array, iterate through it, and we even ended up learning how to, combining it with a for loop, how to get a quick sum of number values in an array. And for that, we declared this array of test scores, called it grades. So here I'm going to throw some numbers in here, representing maybe different scores we got on our tests. And you'll recall I said you can print the value of them using this notation. Grades, square bracket notation, and then which one you want to print. So 1 wouldn't be the first one, it would be the second one, because this is how many we skip. So start counting at 0, 0, 1, 2, 3. So grades at position 1 is 78. Right? So this will print 78. That's all a refresher. The new thing we're going to be learning is, well, maybe I typed this in wrong. I didn't actually get a 78. What I got was an 88. Well, this notation here, same reason it prints, this doesn't just reference the value here. It actually gives you access to that value. So I can do whatever I want to this. I'm going to bring this console.log back. I can say grades of 1 equals 88. What this does is it says, JavaScript goes, what's grades? It's an array. What's the position 1 in our grades array? That's this number 78. This is the number 78. This is as if I had a variable and the variable's value was 78. So this basically becomes a variable. So when I say grades of I equals 88, let me print this before and after. So here I'll print it. It'll print 78. Then I'll change the value of grades of 1, and then we'll print it again and see what it looks like. There is its 88. So really to drive this home, I'm going to print the entire array. First, 65, 78, 83, right? Then I change the value at position 1, the 78 to an 88. And we print that same array again. 65, now it's 88, 83, 90. And so this notation isn't just giving you the value of the element at that position, it's actually giving you the element at that position, if that makes sense. So likewise, we can change other things. We can say 3, 0, 1, 2, 3 is 88. So we should see this 90 change to an 88 instead of the 78. So run it again. Let me clear it so it's clear. There's that. What? Grades at 3. Sometimes it takes a second, there you go, for JSBin to catch up. But you'll see 78 now is no longer changing. We're changing this position 3, which is 90, changes to an 88. And obviously you can change as many of these as you'd like. Each one of them just references a different element. It is as if it's its own. It is as if it's a variable. So here if I run this, we'll see a few values changing to 88, 88, 88, 88, 88. And that's basically ways you can update elements in an array. The next thing we're going to be learning is how to add elements to an array. So rather than changing them, let's say I just took another test, and in this test I got a 95. I did pretty well. How do I add that element to this running total, this running list of all the tests I've taken? Well, in JavaScript, in most languages there's something similar. In JavaScript it's called push. So we call dot push. And dot push is saying, I want you to take some new value, let's say we said 95, and I want you to push it onto the end here, right? So it's gonna, this is our big, you can imagine like a stack of values, 65, 78, 83, 90, 93, 78. We're gonna push a new value on. So this will be as if we did this at declare time, but this is after we've already declared it. We're adding a new one. So here if I run it before I did the push, we declared our array, I console log it up here, I then push a new value on, and I console log it again. And there it is. It's the exact same array. All the elements are in order. All the elements are in order. And now there's a new one at the end of the value I gave it. Again, just a quick refresher, arrays can store whatever you want. So I could push a string on the end of it. I could push a boolean on the end of it. Whoops. I could push, here's a boolean. I can even push another array on the end of it. So here's an array with a number 1 in it. Whoa. So this is this array now has an array in it. So you can push any data type you want onto an array. It's good practice to keep all the data types the same though. So this is an array of numbers. It wouldn't make sense for me to push an array onto it. We'd want to push a number onto it. So let's go back to 95. You might be wondering, well, what if I want it in the front? So when I I forgot to add the first test I took. How can I add it to the front? You can do that using something called unshift. And you might be wondering, why is it called unshift? We'll get into that in 1 second. But here you'll see I've now basically, instead of putting it on the end, I've added it to the very beginning of the array. So we said, why is it called unshift? Why isn't it just called, I don't know, shift or unpush or something? Well, shift has a term. Shift is how you remove elements from an array, or one of the ways you can do it. So grades.shift, we're going to print x after this, and we'll print grades, I guess. So here I have my grades array. We're going to log it at the top just to make sure it is how it was declared. I'm going to unshift an element, or I'm going to shift the array. What shift does is it pulls an element off and stores it into, pulls the first element off and it stores it into, or it returns it to you. So you can store it into a variable if you'd like. You don't have to. But here we'll see. So here's my original array. I shifted it, which basically means I'm going to move these elements left one and dump this last one, this very first one, sorry. So I move 1 becomes 0, 2 becomes 1, 3 becomes 2, right? So it shifts them all down 1, and it gives me the element that it shifts off. It returns the element that it's now removing from the array, which is 65. So I can do something with that. If I wanted to, I can store it into a variable. I could also just call it, not do anything with it. Oh, x is not defined. Whoops. Yeah, so just let it disappear into the ether and not worry about it. If I continue to call this a bunch, whoops, it would shift 3 times. So get rid of 65, 78, 83. My array would now just be these 3 elements remaining. What? Come on, JS bin. There. All right. So remove shifted once, twice, 3 times. I got rid of these 3, and now my array is just those. Well, what if you wanted to remove one from the top? So let's say I want to get rid of this 78. There's something called pop. Pop is just like shift, except it, I'm going to console log this again just so we can see, except it does it from the top of the array. This is called the top. So there's push. Push is the opposite of pop. You push it, you pop it. Those are antonyms in computer science. Shift and unshift works with the front of the array. Push and pop works with the end of the array. So here I have my grades array. I logged it here so we can see it. I then popped the array. I did a pop. It gave me the element that it's popping off the top. So 78 is the topmost element. It's going to return that value to me so I can work with it if I wanted to. And then what's left is the array without that element. And so same as before, I can pop as many times as I want. I can pop till I drop. Well, I guess not as many times as you want. You can pop up to the number of elements in an array. What happens if you pop an empty array? Good question. Nothing. Nothing comes off. These all return null, or probably undefined if I had to guess. Let's see. I'm actually not sure what it returns. What's the type? Yeah, undefined. So if you pop an empty array, you get undefined. So you can pop so many times as you want, but you're only going to get changes to your array if you pop up to the number of elements in that array. Let me put these grades back. All right, so we learned push to add a new one to the end here, pop to take it off, unshift to add one to the beginning, shift to take it off. And those are just some ways that you can work with an array, add elements, remove elements, and then obviously edit existing elements using, again, as a quick review, your bracket notation, then change its value. So those are basically the key takeaways of array manipulation. Stay tuned for the next video. It's going to be on objects, which I think I gave a little teaser to in previous videos, but they're basically like arrays, except you can name the indices, is kind of how I like to think about it. So they're really fun, really exciting. Stay tuned for that video. Until then, take care.